This program has been rated mature by the Gaming Radio Network. It is unsuitable for under 18s due to content of an adult nature, which may be classed as offensive to some people.
And with that button press there, I need to turn it off for a second. Hold on. Forgot I still had something playing back in my ears. There we go. Great start to the show. I forgot I was pre-testing before the show, and I'd had the loop back on so I could hear myself through the encoder, but I can't anymore, so it's all good. Hello, New Eden. This is This Week in New Eden for Sunday, the 29th of May, 2016. It's just gone 3 o'clock GMT. How the hell is everyone? This is Wiggles here on Eve Radio, and I'm joined, as always... I just thought, when I was saying that, it's kind of like from Wayne's World. As always is Garth, Dirk, as always is Dirk,
Hey, Wayne.
Oh, hey, Garth, like that. But no, we're joined by Dirk this week, as per usual. How are you doing, Dirk?
Tired, as usual.
As usual.
Sunday mornings, man, they're sometimes hard in my life.
They are. And also joining us this week to talk over the week's news is Ozil, former host of Podside. Will be the returning host, I guess, when he goes back. But he's basically, the show's on a break. He's there. He's here. He's good. How you doing, Ozil?
Doing good.
Mm-hmm. So, this week in New Eden. Do my eyes see Dirk, or did Dirk leave the Imperium? Yes, he did, actually. I forgot. I haven't changed that. Let me just change that. It's that one, isn't it? Is it that one? Yes, it is. Hold on. I need to change that. See, this is the thing. I need to change some shit that I should have done before the show. In fact, I could have known last week to do it, and I didn't get it ready, did I?
No, you made a comment right afterwards.
Yeah, I know. I commented at the end of the show.
You definitely had plenty of time.
I had plenty of time, and I hadn't done it. So what am I gonna do? Change it on the fly. That's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, anyway, if you didn't know, this week, at the end of last week's show, I said Dirk could basically be anywhere in Eve next week. You never know. Funnily enough, he's in Pandemic Legion. How'd that go for you, Dirk?
Oddly enough, it was that day that just a couple hours after the show that I was pushing buttons, pushing acceptances. I had some ships that I had to get moved around and whatnot before I could do that. But yeah. It's gone interesting. Well, I don't know. I mean, like, as with any change, like when you make a change from one alliance to another or whatever, you got stuff you got to move. Luckily, the commute here wasn't that far. Although in the last week I've moved from Saren and 5-9, right, where we were staged with the Imperium, one gate over to 93 PI. And then yesterday we moved back, and now PL is based out of its Fortizar, as well as the 93, or as well as the 5-9 station. So
nice.
I could have just not moved anything and waited or something. I spent most of my time in Saranen anyway, so.
No, that's good.
Welcome to being a member of a nomadic alliance.
Yeah, exactly. Well, luckily the nomadic nature of it is only one gate away in this case.
Wow.
You got lucky. You're lucky to. We're going down to Syndicate to go fuck with those guys. Oh no, we're coming back. But
yeah.
So anyways, I haven't gotten the full experience yet of I'm still trying to figure out what it is I've got to buy. Because of course you go from some place where you had all these other ships that were used for what they were doing at one point or another, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to take my yacht. I'm not going to take my Megathron. I'm not going to take this. I literally left with a carrier, a dreadnought, and a Proteus, knowing that I would have to change the Proteus, and then I was going to have to change the Proteus so much that I just bought an entirely new Proteus and said, "Out of hell with it."
Naznavuri in chat says, war decks in trade hubs. These numbers seem normal to me. Yeah, that's the shoot. There was a comment in game. 95 pods in the last 24 hours, 11 pods in the past hour. Anything special happening in Amar right now? No, it's Amar. it's a trade hub. People get shoots. It's 5 past. Is Dirk late? No, Dirk's here. Caleb? What are you going on about? Is Dirk late? He's here. He might not be only in chat. He might not be in chat, but he's there.
I am in chat. Chat.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what's going on. I'm away from the game for 2 weeks and Dirk leaves. Why did he join PL?
Well, okay, so and just to give the TLDR on that, I think of a lot of players in EVE that have been around for for a while. Sometimes you just need a change of pace, a new spark, whatever the heck it is, right? And I know that one of the things that I loved my time in the Imperium. I did. I am not going to sit there and say, oh God, I was treated poorly, or oh geez, these guys suck, because the guys I flew with were guys that I had flown with for a long time, as well as other people I met along the way by being a part of the Imperium, right? I never got involved with caring about, I don't know, what was going on at some upper echelon or in diplomatic things or things like that, right? So I had a good time there. But I'm not going to say that it didn't get a little stagnant and boring, not entirely because of what people might call the big blue donut, but also just because as you progress in this game, and once you begin to, let's say, have enough money where you're not out there ratting, you're not out there mining, you're not out there doing some of those things, and you start to have to find some other things in the game that are really kind of interesting for you. I was never a solo PvPer or anything like that. I was always a member of groups that went out and did things, whether they be small organized groups or in the case of the Imperium, larger. And I think that I just found that point where I needed to find something new. And I knew that, and after what happened on New Year's Eve, part of what happened on New Year's Eve, that blow up that I had on New Year's Eve, was partially related to my own kind of dissatisfaction in what I was doing playing.
Yeah.
And with that, I turned over my corp to some other guys, let them run it, and I was going to leave. And I was going to go find my way without having to worry about what the other guys in my corp were going to do. Right. So PL was one of those places that I looked. I had an offer to come there, but I wasn't even sure I was coming back to EVE at all at that point. So, anyways, so long story short, I was going to be going to PL. However, then the war came up, and I decided I'm not going to go fight the war on the new side. I've been with this side for like 3.5 years or whatever. I'm going to stay there for the war and fight that, because I believed in fighting for the kind of the horse that brought you, right? And if that war had taken 6 months or it had taken 8 years, I probably would have stayed there, provided it was also filling that other gap of, was it interesting for me in order to log in and play?
Well, exactly.
And just the way that the war went, I'm going to be honest, it wasn't providing that, okay? And sadly so, because I think that this war sort of fizzled more than it exploded. So anyway, so I picked a lull to basically say, okay, if I'm going to make that change for myself personally, now's the time to do that. And I ended up in PL, where I also know people, and I could never have gone someplace that I didn't know anybody. I'm at that point in my EVE career where it's like, what, I don't want to have to reestablish or regenerate this social aspect of the community type thing. So I ended up going someplace where I know some people, and PL just happens to be one of those places that is this repository, of people who know people, kind of a thing.
It's one of those things. Quarkane in Twitch chat says, importantly, how did you get in? And Jorah says, are you doing some spy? No, I just went hand jobs. That might be it.
I'm going to tell you right now, I did not get in by I got in the cheapest way possible. I happened to know somebody. I met Grath out in Vegas last year and talked with him quite a bit. Stayed in touch with him, throughout. And, anybody that's ever seen the Open Com show, or any, we've always had guys like Elise and Manny and Grath and whatnot, from PL on there. I've been on Jeff Rader's show. I mean, so I'm going to attach this to the fact of I hope that I earn my place in PL through what I do in the future, because it probably wasn't through what I did in the past.
Wait.
Yeah, you got booshed. Don't
I got
try
booshed.
and muddy the water.
No, I'm not. I think I'm being pretty clear that I was accepted in based on a who you know kind of and luckily it was Grath, right? I mean,
yeah, which is kind of odd because Grath is usually a big stickler for the rules. Maybe he's just at a point now. It's like, yeah, why the fuck not?
Well, I mean, one of the things that he's, because this was a concern that I had that I actually raised to him. I said, look, I I earned it. I feel a little weird. And he's like, well, if you want to go do some time in Waffles, you're free to do that. He goes, well, but I'm not, I'm not saying that you have to do that. And there's almost a point of me that there's almost a part of me that might actually spin up one of my other accounts that I have, and I don't know, maybe do a little time flying with Waffles. It was probably something I should have done in the Greater Imperium. Maybe looking at flying with some of these smaller groups to see what everybody needs to remember something, okay? Because of what I try to do with these crazy shows, right? I like to have perspectives from different places and things. And there's a part of me that does some of this from a, I don't know, embedded, let me live through it and kind of understand it sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the larger thing is I just want to have fun playing Eve.
Well, that's
a combination of two things. What you do in Eve as well as who you do it with.
Exactly.
And not who you do it with as in who your glorious leader is or who the big names are, but who you do it with, like, who you're talking with in your channel all day long. That is really what makes wherever you're living tolerable.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Regardless of where you are in Eve, as long as you're having fun doing it in Eve, then you keep doing it. Without doing it, it causes issues. So I'm just going to reset your Skype video here because it's being a bit funny again. But
yeah,
then...
so it was absolutely not a political statement. It was a statement of Dirk's personal view towards, if he wants to undock and he wants to do things... You got to have that want, and I'm looking for that, to rekindle that spark, not even a spark, that massive flame that used to exist. I just need to find something different to do, which means I'm going to have to change my play style. I am going to have to start thinking about things like, I do want to go out there and fly and kill shit and. Do that way more often than what I was when I was having to manage my corp and manage the human resources kind of shit that was involved with that and logistics and whatnot. I just want to, I want to be a combat pilot now. I want to do more of that. Now, whether that means I get into small gang stuff, small gang would be fun. I'm not going to be, you're not going to see Dirk solo PvPing while streaming and asking you to donate.
You never know. You never ever know.
No, you won't see that.
You never know. You could do. Dirk, I'm
pull a Mr. Hyde.
Pull a Mr. Hyde.
That's right.
I'm sure you might. You could speak to Mrs. McGurk. I'm sure she's got a couple of crop tops out there that you could use. And get it on and make it all good. Make Eve great again.
But yeah. So, anyways, just good fun and
Nexus 7 in Twitch chat. I donate to that stream. We're running a poll. Gets in PL first. Big Country or Crass Kitty? I'm about to be Crass Kitty, but she still needs to learn her place. And have I frozen? No,
I think I froze.
Yeah, you froze. You're like you're you're in a contemplation mode. You're like
I'm in that contemplation thing. That's my face when I'm about ready to tell you that BC I believe is already.
So anyone who's on Twitch, you can screen grab that. I've just blown it up really big. That's Dirk's contemplation. That's Dirk thinking Big Country or Crass Kitty first. There we go. And we'll just reset it back.
I'm just gonna pull up XSplit again.
Yeah, you do that. It's cool. I just blew it up. So that's gonna be when I go through YouTube and choose the thumbnail for the show. That will probably be the one that gets picked out. So yeah, Robo Dirk is now Mr. Freeze Dirk. There's a new stream for your front page. Yep, might be. We'll wait and see. But yeah, so I knew last week it was going to happen. Oh, you've got a watermark on your XSplit. Oh no, and now it's gone. It was there and then it went away. It was like XSplit watermark, go away.
I pay for my XSplit.
Yeah, I've got a lifetime license. I actually got because I was in. Fun enough, because I was in the beta. I was in the beta test for XSplit way back before it was even out. They sent up a thing. You want to get a lifetime license? Like, yeah, but it's expensive. Oh yeah, you can get it for $59. I was like, what? So I'm just looking at my XSplit license for premium will expire on March the 3rd, 2849.
Nice.
It's like, yep, there you go.
See, at least now you know the date of your death.
Yeah, 800 years from now. It's all good. But yeah.
But no, I mean, BC is going as well. He's also going to Sniggertly. However, I can assure you that this literally had nothing to do with me. BC plays Madden and some other games, I guess, with some of the guys from over on OG Comms on Mumble, and kind of came in his own way. Power to him, but two different entities from that standpoint. Now, we tried to explain the other night kind of what that meant for Open Comms, which is absolutely nothing, because Open Comms is not a banner waving show. The show originated back before we were ever in the Imperium. We have a good relationship with the Mittani.com. As far as I know, we are we have all intentions of staying there and continuing to do the show. Although we hope to see some more Imperium faces that come on there, because once again, we like the diversity of not necessarily diversity of opinions, but diversity of perspectives from the way players think, depending on where it is they come from. So, that's not going to change.
No, Big Country has officially been in Sniggerly for 1 day. Yeah. I just checked.
Yeah, he told me yesterday. He pushed the buttons yesterday.
Yep, so. I could just see it. I was just seeing in Twitch chat. Isotope TV, so what you're saying is BC isn't in yet. I still have time to boosh Crash Kitty into RKK then. Dirk keyword every time. Yeah, Caleb, it's the keyword, so everyone takes the shot.
I love literally. I don't know why.
It's a great word, isn't it?
Well, it's just because usually when I'm saying something that means, it's like literally just actually fits.
Yeah, and
you know what I can't use? I can't use the whole ironically, unironically thing.
Literally, it's kind of like me and my wife, we finished How I Met Your Mother recently, and Ted in it has a thing for every time when Robin says literally, and he goes, "You mean figuratively, not literally," and it's every time. It's just like, it goes thing, but yeah. So, yep. That's it. Dirk's there. That's that. We must actually pay homage today to Dust 514, because tomorrow, in less than 24 hours, the Dust 514 server will be switched off. And thank you to IB Crooks for following. This was put up by the Dust University, a Corp and Alliance mail from Dust University, Kelvin Longstride, on the forums. It says, in less than 24 hours, the service of Dust 514 will be switched off, and the connection to the Mercs and the Capsuleers severed, and Dust 514 contribution to the history of New Eden will end. While 3 years, 4 months, and 16 days ago, my Eve character, Denny Fleetfoot, has been CEO of Dust University since the Connection TQ was established on January 10th, 2013. It has been my Dust Merc, Kelvin Longstride, who was first downloaded the game on May 17th, 2012. That has been for many years the first point of contact with New Eden. It's a long-winded mail. I'm not going to read all of it, but, just over 3 years, technically 4 years if you count 2012, but that's a long time. We really need to till say
Rip Dust.
Yeah, Rip Dust. It's been a while. And Nexus 7, the OpenCom show on iTunes is messed up. It's because, as Dirk said, trying to get the podcast squared away, and I don't know.
I don't know if something's happened in the last couple of days. Well, I mean, no podcast had gotten put up since like February or sometime like that, because this was all stuff that was in motion, and I don't know. Don't even get me started on why no podcast got put up anywhere. But I know now it is being hosted on EOC TV, and I don't know if they've now reestablished the links to RSS feeds and iTunes and things like that. So
yeah,
maybe they did, and that's what caused something on iTunes to change. Or
I know the old OpenCom show RSS feed isn't updated because I haven't seen it, because I see it. So I actually do see the feeds, and I need to go there. Yeah, they're not finished their launch, so the area's not fully done yet. So they are doing it, they are getting it done. And it will happen eventually. It's just a case of, get things done. It's like the new Eve Radio launch site. It's there.
No, it's just that podcast, to be honest. All the other ones, Matterall gets his shit up. Yep. Wiggles gets his shit up.
I know. I can be honest and say
I blame it on BC.
I can blame it on BC, because I used to host it for him before he moved over to TMC. I used to host it on this feed for this show, and then when he moved over, we had it. Well, then before then he moved it separately, and he was still hosting it on one of the feeds. And I said to him, I can get it sorted for you, and he kind of really didn't get back to me about it. I don't know, he's been busy. And keyword eventually is a keyword. It's not a trigger word though. It doesn't trigger. You've got right. This is not a drinking section. This next section, we are going to tell you the drinking words for the show. Literally, At the end of the day, there's a few others, isn't there, Dirk? What's
Look.
Um,
If I precede a sentence with look.
Yeah, if Dirk precedes a pre-sentence with look, or uses literally, or either me or Dirk say at the end of the day, that's a drink. So from now on,
when all is said and done.
when all is said and done as well. So from now on, for the rest of the show, if you're listening live, yeah, okay. If you're in the UK or the EU, you're fine. If you're in the US, you're getting drunk. Maybe not. But yeah, that's the things. And Tovin says, I'm not going to comment. Okay. Anyway.
Although the other night on Open Comms, it was actually good timing. I hit 1,000 followers on Twitter during the show. I gave away 10 billion ISK to a random listener and channel.
Nice. I'm 858 right now on my Twitter. But then if I go through all
I just wanted to get to 1,000 because it pisses my teenage daughter off so badly. She's like, why? Why do you have 1,000?
Well, this is the thing.
I don't know. I'm like internet spaceships.
Yeah,
serious
but that's
business.
the thing. You can get Mrs. McGurk more than your daughter as well. That would be awesome.
well, Mrs. McGurk's got I don't know. She's pushing 100 or something like that.
Close to it.
And she goes, and she's like, and I don't know nothing. I just
She just posts random stuff, and that's what it is. It's what it is. It's like why Eve Radio's got a ton of Twitch followers and because people follow and do stuff, and we haven't read the story about the 7-Eleven robbery event because we haven't even got to news of the week yet. We haven't even got to any news of the week yet. But I suppose we could sort of start looking at the news. It's been 20 minutes in the show. I'll tell you what I'm going to lead off with, though, is the Imperium. No Sov. Hashtag YOLO.
Hashtag, yeah, the last Imperium system sovereignty fell several days ago now.
Yep.
I think they grabbed one back, grabbed a system back, Raiders.
Yeah, I think they had one, but I don't really give a shit about Sav either way. So.
No. Well, you know what? There was actually an interesting article on the Matani.com, and depending on how you wanted to read it, which is pretty much if anybody puts an article up anywhere related to EVE Online, depending on how you want to read it, it had the thing, right? Of the flag may have ultimately fallen, right, but the control of the territory had been gone for a long time. So as far as the pilots were concerned, they'd already lost all their stuff.
Yeah.
Because you lost control of it, and you lost basically the use of it for what the sovereignty was there for. So they've already been adapting under this new thing. But we cannot say in EVE that it is not a historical, momentous kind of occasion that this happened.
No.
It's not often that you see an organization of that size and dominance over time completely erased from the nullsec sovereignty map, which, as we all know, sovereignty itself doesn't matter so much, but it's a representation of your of you being in nullsec.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's your place on the map, if you like. It's your flag, if you want to call it like that, and that's exactly what it is.
That may be exactly what it is, but when you've got a bunch of guys that don't really care about it, and you've got a SOV system that is hostile to it, there's no reason to have it.
Well, I'm not going to sit there and say, look, I'm not so far removed from having been in the Imperium that I'm not going to. You can't sit there and say you don't care about SOV. I mean, we did care about SOV. We cared about living. Well, maybe you didn't, but your corp, your alliance, your coalition, did care about living in sovereignty and holding, as any nullsec SOV holding alliance does, or coalition.
So I'm just.
But we've moved into kind of this new, this new face of nullsec out there right now, where he's right. There are a lot of people now who are like, what, man, they've been debating it for a long time whether or not holding sovereignty is actually worth anything other than other than we get to show our flag on the map. Like, does it have the level of benefit attached to it that warrants really defending it hardcore, or really warrants going after somebody else's sovereignty? And you do have a lot of people out there saying no. But then again, if you look at the patchwork quilt of the map, you've got others that are saying yes. So, we will, we'll see how that goes. I mean, Leboat Kong just said new face of nullsec equals lowsec. Yeah, I mean, this has also been a major debate. This whole idea of operating in nullsec but basing out of low. It comes into that whole. There's not an overarching reason to hold it strategically, because at this point in time, if you're one of those groups out there that can still control the money-making moons and things of that nature, you can do that. And the other stuff, maybe you don't need that. Maybe you outsource your capital production. Maybe you outsource a number of things to other places, and you don't allow that kind of attackable point in space to exist the way that it once did.
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing. There's a lot of people, that look at it and go, well, we could live in nullsec and have the production stuff out there, but also have the security, and we've got to deal with this and that, or we could just do like the Pandemic Legion style thing and roam lowsec, nullsec, third party on stuff, outsource the production to other things, or have third parties that do it for us that we just pay, or even we do it ourselves under some pseudonym corp somewhere and done. Again, it's all about the playstyle that you want for EVE. Because a lot of people out there, a lot of like-minded people will be out there in the Greater Imperium or in the smaller alliances of the Imperium, your Goons, your Bastions, that sort of stuff, or in PL or other groups like that, or the Wormholders.
Obviously the attention over the last few months has been on this, World War B, whatever you want to call it, has been on this conflict, that has culminated in the Imperium losing their foothold in, losing their giant foothold in nullsec, losing all of their space, but there are other groups out there. Now, I guess there's different ways of looking at those other groups, right? What exactly is their intention? What would their willingness be to coming under attack? Right now, I see a lot of little farms out there that have some seedlings that need to be nurtured and allowed to grow up, but eventually will probably be harvested by somebody.
Yeah. And that's how it is,
Even if what they do is they just get harvested and the harvests get kind of thrown away, right? Because it may be that whoever comes to attack your space, they don't want your space. They just maybe don't want you to have it, or they're going to use the fact that you live there for content generation or whatever the heck it is. But in the meantime, hopefully those entities can do what it is that they're that they're looking to do there. And in the meantime, we will continue to see changes in this entire structures thing that started with Citadel.
Yeah.
And we'll see where this leads to. I mean, but it's still a pretty long path between the here and now of whatever nullsec is going to become. I think we're still a ways off from kind of seeing that settle down.
Yeah, well, that's it. You remember, we've got to change. Well, we've got to change the way the game is changing. It's gone from the old style of, back in the day, you held all the towers, and that's how you held self. And it changed to TCUs and iHubs, and now it's changed to Intosis lasers, space lasers sort of stuff. But it's an ever-evolving game, and that's how it changes. That's how sovereignty changes, and that's how gameplay changes. I think, anyway.
Well, it is an ever-evolving game. This evolution of it, okay, is taking a bit longer. Like when Dominion sovereignty was put into place, right, and some of the other things, you basically had a period there where boosh, it just all came in at once.
Yeah.
You had changes to super capitals. You had the whole introduction of the Dominion sovereignty system and all of the little parts that kind of were associated with that. And then everybody went like it was like this new starting line, and the game changed dramatically because of that. I mean, it basically ushered in the era of the massive super capital buildup that occurred, as well as so much of the map basically being relegated to renter territory.
And that was it, though, wasn't it? You had.
But it played into that. It played into that. Force projection of major forces, able to cover vast quantities of space at will.
Yeah.
Which leads to rental empires.
It does.
But luckily, luckily that's behind us. Whether or not we have found the solution for it remains to be seen. Because again, the whole sovereignty mechanic, it is a two-sided thing, right? It is an attacker-defender thing. And while I think that we have plenty of people who want to be attackers, I don't know how many we have that want to be committed defenders, right? They may own it, they may, but in the face of any real danger, do they commit to defending it, right? Because we don't care about who's on the planets, right? It's not like we're out to save the women and children on the planets from being raped by the incoming, the incoming forces of evil trying to take over your space, right? It's just about your assets. So if you can protect your assets enough to get them out, maybe you choose, we're not going to defend that. Yeah. And it will always depend on what the level of the attacking, enemy is, right? If you think you have a chance at defending, maybe you do. If you don't, well, now you got to figure out what it is you want to do.
And that's where you look at it, where you want to be. Goons, Imperium, CFC, Wormhole, Lowsec.
What the size of your footprint is, exactly. How do you have people there who are both there to defend it as well as there to utilize it? Yeah, so.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, us, you and Dirk were on the same side for ages in the Imperium. Now he's obviously on the other side. What's your view on this? Do you agree in those sort of terms? You think that it's about
it's about the Salve system? It's gutter trash.
Really?
It is too much risk for too little reward, and it's only gotten easier to remove the flag. So space becomes more fluid, a lot less reason to invest in it. Like I said, Salve system is shit. And Fozzie can take that to the bank.
I mean,
I don't think it's entirely. Look, I think that there are some things that and I start that off with look, but
drink.
I don't think it's entirely shit. There's still some stuff that probably needs to be tweaked. I've said it before it came out that I believe that it puts the initiative on the side of the attacker, because they have so many different options for how they can go after somebody who is a Salve owner, right? The Salve defender. They can do it just by kind of harassing guerrilla tactics, not really intended to roll your sovereignty or be a true threat to your sovereignty. But you always have to be on the ball as a defender, right? Whether somebody's just coming to ring your doorbell or somebody is coming for a full-fledged invasion, you have always got to be on the ball. Otherwise, even from the lowest possible pilot out there flying, whatever the most minimal Intosa ship is, you could put yourself at risk. Which I'm not going to deny that it does get tiring to have to act, get up and answer the doorbell. All those times, and there may be nobody there. There may be a flaming bag of shit on the doorstep,
or there may be the whole Mongolian
or there may
army.
be the entire goddamn half the world out there.
Exactly.
But again, it comes down to the consequences of Eve. That if you choose to own this stuff, then you have to choose what your level of defense will be in that.
See, Caleb says, anyone wants to roll back before Aegisoft, back to structure grind. The thing is, and as you said, it was far harder in Dominion, required actual assets to wage the war. It needs to be a hybrid of all the sort of structures before. So you need to have controlling area. You need to have the ability to shoot stuff, but there also needs to be other ways to do it to push it on. Because, in my opinion, right, I love the way that citadels are dealt with. You shoot them. You physically shoot the motherfuckers. Right? I love that. But you Intosis laser, you Sov laser some structures. Maybe, and this is me just talking bollocks, but maybe it will do this. Maybe everything should be physical based damage, so you should be able to shoot structures. But if you Intosis them, it pushes the damage cap up a little bit, because that damage cap mechanic is there for a reason, to stop, and again, stop the likes of PL or Goons or whoever dropping X number of supers on it and just killing it. Even though now, that we know supers and titans and all that have changed, you could still work out, and there are still theory crafters out there that have probably worked out those changes and know you need to drop X number of things on there to do this in the shortest possible time, and have a support and this and that. I know the damage cap is there for a reason, so you've got to be on field for 30 minutes. That reason, that works.
Yeah, the only thing is the Citadels are actually more effective at killing caps than they are subcaps.
But they're not meant to kill subcaps. The subcaps are meant to kill subcaps.
Well, it's certainly a thing where, yes, they are better at killing capitals, but they're not meant to be the only line of defense. So you've got to be able to put a fleet up out there to deal with subcaps more effectively than what a Citadel can do. But
yeah, so all you have to do to get around, all you need to get around a Citadel's defenses, as long as it's not a Fortizar, and even then, just need long enough range, is subcaps.
Well, there's never going to be a perfect. Never going to be a perfect scenario. I don't believe that there is, because somebody out there will feel that it doesn't kind of fit the way they want to either attack or defend or whatever the heck it is, right? There were plenty of people out there that didn't like Dominion sovereignty because of the higher barrier to entry of committing to an attack. Right, the defender was pretty much in place unless you were willing to A, bring SBUs, B, wait until those SBUs online 3 hours later, C, then commence an attack over this lengthy, sort of process.
Yeah, but
I think that pendulum swung too far, but
yeah, it wasn't all this, random interceptors and assault frigates and stealth bombers and TOSIS BS. You had to actually bring a fleet with guns and blow shit up.
Oh no, I agree. That was what most people want. They want to blow stuff up, and you bring the TOSIS stuff in. It's like, yeah, you've just got to protect that guy who's knocking on the door and pooing in a bag. Yeah,
sitting in his clown shoe and TOSISing half your region because he can.
Exactly. Again,
or because you can't stop it. I mean, there is the argument that if the guy can come in such a very small ship in order to do that, then it doesn't take much to stop him, other than motivation and effort.
But again, that's it. It's about balance, and I've said this before, and I will say it again. EVE is a game that is dynamically, fluidly changing. It's completely different now than it was 10 years ago. And provided it lasts another 10 years, which I think it might do, it'll be completely different then. And
I think this sovereignty system itself is going to, is probably going to be changing. I mean, obviously, with when they came in with the Citadel stuff, right? It's being handled in a different way. It is damage based. It's not Savwand based.
Yeah.
And it. Who knows? Maybe when they get done with bringing more of the structures online, they go back and they say, okay, these other things like hubs or TCUs or whatever, right? Well, those are really the two things, because at some point, at least in nullsec, apparently those stations are going to go. The stations that exist will go away.
Well, we still haven't had anything official about that, but we don't know. Everyone in the media is all thinking that's going to happen. CCP might turn around and go, you know what?
Well, that would be a change in in what they have said, because what they have said is that phased out over time.
Yeah, phased out over time, not just like that's it. Or they'll change from for example, Yoramar Factory will change into. It will change into a Citadel that has.
No, it's not going. That I don't think it's going to happen.
No, it will change into from that to a factory-based thing, and it will be based on what you had there or whatever, and the way that works. Again, it all depends on how Citadels have hit and the structures that come after it. The 9 more structures or whatever we've got left to come after Citadels, and that's where the player base has a massive, massive push on it to see what happens. Plus, the other side is, remember, It's not only just about the structures and that, it's about the capitals, but also about what everyone else does in high sec and low sec and wormholes and everything like that. It's about all the content of the game, and that's where it happens, and that's where you've got to think. If CCP work on this and make sure that gets done, they push for PvE changes, better PvE in certain places, better things like this, more people might log in and do stuff and actually play the game. Because, you know, let's look at the numbers right now. Let's look. What are we looking at? We're looking at, according to the launcher, which I'm just loading up. It's loading up. We're looking at 31,706 people online right now, according to the last update on the launcher. That's a massive, massive change from the previous airs, and I'm not going to be one of these people that go, oh, he's dying, whatever. Yeah, we know you used to have more people in, but that was all alts and people running multi-boxed accounts, and people don't do that sort of stuff anymore. Well, they do, and they don't get caught.
Well, they do,
but they don't run 25 bombers.
You mean the IS Boxer?
The IS Boxer, the age of IS Boxer alts where you could press one button and drop 20 bombs, and that sort of thing is different, and the way the game is changing is different. And also, I keep saying this every week, and I say it on every podcast I'm on, like this, or every show I talk to people about. People are different. The people who are in charge today at CCP, but also the players, are different to the people they were 10 years ago. People want to pick up their phones, play their games, do their things, and then move on. People don't want to... There are still some people that will sit at a computer for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. I'm not one of them anymore. I used to. I'm hardly on my PC now. It's just how it is. I hate to say it, but that's how it is.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, we're obviously not going to fix whatever we think is right or wrong about about the current sovereignty system. Again, we're in this period of ongoing evolution. We'll see how it shakes out. For now, it doesn't matter. Everybody's going to need to adapt to the new meta, and and we'll see what that means out there. Again, we've got a patchwork quilt of. I don't remember the last time I saw the map look like it does right now. This, at least color-wise, fragmented, right? People are like, oh, the end of the coalition. No, that's just not true.
Yeah.
Because there will always be coalitions, and we've been here before, and we'll do it again. Some of these groups out there will get friendly with one another. They will form coalitions because you know what? They've got enemies on their border, and they'll get larger, and alliances that are out in space long enough will get fat, and people will lose space, and then it will just go full circle again. Maybe it doesn't get to the point where you kind of have this binary space, right? We never really had a blue donut, but we did have two major competing sides. Maybe it doesn't get to that two sides kind of a thing again, but we will have coalitions, and we will have large alliances, and
that's just
repeat the process of life in Eve.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it is. Eve will just keep reinventing itself, and the corps and the alliances will keep reinventing themselves until you get Pandemic Legion 3.0, which is no longer a sort of habitual sort of, we're going to be space nomads. We're going to take a little bit of Sov, but we're going to do this, and also we don't use supers anymore. We only use these and this and that, and we will play other games. Yeah, again, it's always...
Yeah, I mean, as LeBeau Kong says, I'm not forgetting the not insignificant Russian space.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously with Legion and Solar getting back together again and reestablishing their presence out in the drone regions and that side of the map, they are the last, what I would call, existing major presence really in nullsec at this point. Everything else is pretty fragmented. But even they are probably overextended for what it is they can truly hold in the face of a concerted attack from a sizable enemy force.
Well, if you want to keep up with what's going on, there's a website I've just found about. I'm going to link it everywhere. Sov.space. Fucking awesome. It's literally just pulls the maps up. for and it pulls all the Vera influence maps and all that, and it's the daily updates of them. It's basically the Alliance influence map, the Coalition influence map, faction warfare, and Serenity for China. So you can look in the differences. You can see what happens, and obviously these pull the influence maps that are hosted on e-files, which you can go and look at. But it shows you, where you look at the DRF. The DRF is huge, and you've got Steinwagen, Delft and you've got all the different like Fountain Core, and that's it. And you can see the differences. That's getting linked on Total Leave.
Yeah, and people say the Russians. I mean, and the Russians have never always been the Russians, right? I mean, because there was their own internal hatred between each other,
Exactly.
in various aspects of that. But
exactly, and again, it will happen. I'm not going to say there won't be, but there will be a point.
But they are their kind of their own little internal culture and everything else, right? I mean, and having been associated with them in a couple different capacities, one as a renter and two as kind of a whatever you want to call it, a sub-alliance under the larger solar umbrella and thing. They do work with others, and they have good relationships with various of the other larger entities in the game and contacts and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, sometimes they swing things in their direction. What will be interesting is if they do come under attack, will they be able to call in chits from other places that where they have helped out over the last year or whatever.
Yeah.
Or over time. But again, it's just about getting back to getting back to, it's a change in the meta. And we've all got to adapt. And right now, maybe there's too many people basing out of places like Lowsec and whatnot to operate elsewhere. But whatever, we just move along with that and see where it goes. I mean, even in talking to other people out there who are part of these entities, like before I joined PL, right? I mean, guys like Manny and whatnot, they expect that things are going to change at some point in the future where holding sovereignty is actually required of a of people who want to operate at that level in nullsec. They won't be surprised if something comes in that changes that to where you kind of have to have this out there, otherwise you're not getting the full benefit of whatever.
Yeah.
Now, what that is, who knows?
I don't know, and I think I think it's gonna be. Well, I don't even know. I'm just thinking.
I literally don't know, and I mean, short of just completely speculating on just random tinfoily stuff or whatever. But for now, I mean, so what? We've got people that are in people that are in combat within close proximity of one another. Well, they're going to go out and fight. I mean, members of the NBC are starting to go and look look at doing what it was they were doing before. Kind of coalescing into the Voltron that went after the Imperium. Doesn't mean that they can't get back together again at some point for the right reasons or whatever the hell you want to call it. But I would imagine that you're going to see people kind of getting back to a prior state status quo of what it is they just do on kind of a normal basis, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Serenin looks like it's going to still be a hot zone for a while.
Of course it is. It's where goons are basing out of and where PL are basing to shoot them. And then the greater NBC are like, we're going to shoot you, we're going to fight, and it's always going to be a place to fight, like everyone's, like Even News 24 had an article up, like literally today, the Siege of Serenin begins. And it's like, it's an opinion piece on it. He's talking about we're going to take it out, And
I don't remember.
Tell me again how you destroy an NPC station.
Well, you don't, but I really would like to see that role play backstory kind of side of it, because I think that like the inside of that station now with PL based there and the Imperium based out of that same station, it's going to look like a Spring Break Motel 6 on the inside of that. Just beer bottles and
I just want dust weaponry so I can just start walking into like Manny's room and blow his fucking head off with a shotgun.
Oh, hello, Alpha. CCP Alpha's in the chat joining us. How are you doing? Friend of the show.
Caleb thinks that the structures, from a revenue perspective, it looks like are going to have a pretty meaningful impact on sovereignty. Maybe, but then again, you can also put them up in low and high sec. Probably high sec is the place where more revenue would be generated from them.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Just the volume of trade is so much higher there.
until we get to the structures that deal with the income generation from moons, okay, and how that is going to completely shift how a lot of these nomadic types, right? The ones who they don't necessarily own sovereignty, but they do own high-end money-making moons and things like that, right? These new structures may in fact shift that are going to shift that very much, I think. The whole idea of people who own 200 towers out there right now, churning out various types of not base moon goo, but running it through the reaction process and everything. How that's going to change. I mean, these are he's not wrong from the from the revenue perspective and from how these structures are going to affect that. We're just not there yet, so.
Well, again,
we don't know how that's going to shake out.
On the ladder, on the steps of ladder, we're on the bottom 2 rungs, and we've got 15 more to go. We've still got all
I think
that
we're
way.
further. I think we're further up the ladder than that, but it is a very long freaking ladder.
Exactly, because now citadels have actually hit, so we know the ground things of that. We're probably, If the whole of the ladders, however long it is, we're probably, a quarter of the way. We're just getting at the quarter of the way with our hands now, so we know we're getting there, and it's a slow, steady process, which happens. But again, this is what's going to happen. And all these people out there that are like, you know what? I want it to be now. I want it to be done. Well, I'm sorry, it's not going to be instant. You want your instant gratifications, then you have to go to play something else. Play tanks, play warplanes, play anything you want. But remember, EVE is a slow burn of a game. What
is funny?
Yep.
What is funny, okay, is having done these conversations, okay, with podcasts and whatnot, going back like 4 years now, right? And obviously other people more and whatnot. I just remember the way we used to talk about LowSec. LowSec was flyover space. It didn't matter. It was only there for these few people who lived there as pirates and things. And it's where jump freighters and capitals jumped into when they were going to the Jitta market or, whatever, right? And now LowSec is the evolution of LowSec, from the introduction of faction warfare to the revamping of faction warfare to the way that they've made it more lucrative for people who want to live there, to previous nullsec organizations that are basing out of there and finding content in a reinvigorated LowSec. The game has changed just so much in at least the last 4 years, but we know it has changed just extensively all the way along.
Again, and that's what's going to happen. Like I've said before, 6 months, 12 months down the line, 18 months, it'll be changed again. We'll see nullsec in a different light. We'll see 0-0, LowSec in a different light, and wormholes in a completely different light. And, this is how it is. And again, this is what it is with the games. And again, I can push this into other games. You can look at World of Warcraft with their PvE experience of raiding and PvP. Similar things. We know stuff's coming in the next evolution of WoW. We know stuff's coming in Legion. But until we're there, it's still the same old, same old. And it's the same old for EVE and for any other
Has anybody gone out and gotten their 10,000 SP today?
Do you know what? I haven't. And I haven't even logged in.
I haven't done it yet. No,
I haven't. I could go and do it on Wiggles very simply.
I don't mean just today. I haven't done it.
No, I've never done it. I haven't done it. And again, this comes back to me. I'm going to be a bit selfish here for a minute, but again, it's my show. Fuck's given. Talk about it whatever I want. There's no draw for me to log into EVE. I log into EVE now to do this show. That's it. I log in once a week to do this show. I don't do the
then you should totally be logging in to get your 10,000 SP just so that you can build it up and then sell it. And
maybe I should, but you know what?
Farm it.
I'm just looking at Plexes right now. I'm in Jita 923. In the rest of area, so Nibian. In perimeter, you're looking
Nexus
at
7. My OCD won't allow me to not get my free SP every day.
That's what it is.
And you're definitely gonna have that. You're definitely gonna have that. You're gonna have those people where it's like, I must because it's free and available. All I gotta do is put in this minimal, level of effort, right?
Yeah. That's what it is. It's like when we used to do dailies in WoW. When I used to play in Mr. Pandora, I would log in every day and do my dailies on my main character and do them on other characters if I felt like it. but I would do them because I was looking at reputation and changes and stuff like that. You know, and that's what it is, how it is. And the offshoring article, we're going to bring that up in a minute, but I mean, that as well, it's change. It's how people act and how people do things. And the problem is that a lot of people get stuck in their same rut, and they get stuck in a way. I can echo this back into my personal life right now.
Because Eve is real, man. Everybody gets stuck in their own personal rut.
Eve is real. I got shot today and I died. Yeah. But yeah, I was also, I'd say, yeah, Alpha says free SP. I get it occasionally. Yeah, well, I think you bloody well should. I get free SP. So I was talking before the show. I'd logged in to see, you know, when I logged into the show last week, I had 6 days left on my account. Was it 6 days? It might have been more, actually. I was thinking, oh, well, I hope CCP sort this out. Just a little thing. I don't pay for my account. CCP do, because I run a media site. I run Total Eve. GG. But anyway, the point is, I logged in today, 380 odd days on my account again, because it just rolled over. So I don't have to do anything. I could easily sell all this off and everything. I don't, because you know what? There's no draw for me to log in. I'm a PvE pilot, and to be honest, the PvE is crap.
Yeah, but now you can get some free SP just for doing. I mean, if you're a PvE pilot, then man, you know, it's like the golden age for you because you can just run out and get some free SP.
What? 10k? Shoot one thing, done, go log off, and go have a wank. Yeah. Sit there going like, no.
At least it hits their logins for that day, and they can sit there and go, look, we got more logins now.
This is what I've said. But if there was more content out there, you know what? The opportunity system, and not the opportunity, the daily system. I know there's going to be more to it. And again,
Urzio, Caleb's going to take you on this because you're not right.
Yeah, new PvE coming soon. Hashtag CCP Ghost. I know. I watched all that, and you know what?
I'm not putting 20 billion worth of fucking assets at risk just to appease some random.
You don't have to. No, and that's what he's saying about the. And that, all right, we might as well just go into the offshoring article right here. Okay. So so basically. So basically, the TLDR on the offshoring article, right, is that you've got these citadels that are sitting within one jump of Jeddah, where somebody can go and they can place range-based buy orders, all right, which means that they will encompass Jeddah. Now, since we know that Jeddah is the place where most of the transactions take place, when you place that range-based buy order, you'll be getting your stuff in Jeddah. Now, you will also be getting it in other stations in Jeddah, okay? Not just Jeddah 4-4. You will get it in any place else that is within the range. So if you set it to a one jump range, right, you'll be picking up other places that also surround perimeter. But the majority of probably what it is you're buying will be there. But you're actually putting in your buy order from that citadel. And depending on which citadel you're using, you're going to have a substantially reduced broker fee than what you would be paying if you were just sitting in Jeddah in an NPC station. So, so you're not actually having to put assets in that citadel and have those various forms of risk.
Yeah, but when you build something, which is what we're talking about, the blueprints and the actual build materials got to be in Citadel.
Yes, if you're using if you're using the Citadel for that.
Yeah, because I've got a guy in the perimeter Citadel, and I can just do one jump range buy orders, and I do that all the time. That's pretty nice. If you try to sell remotely, though, you still pay Jita's market rate, and it would be the same way trying to do a remote build job into a Citadel.
Yeah, but again, as he's saying, these people are out to make revenue, which means that they want more users, not less, right? So I guess you would have to somehow have dicked them over or something for them to, for them to be choosing to lock you out. The bigger thing would be, I guess, if if somebody were to war deck that citadel and then attack it, and and then you would have to wait for like a few days to have your shit transferred.
Well, that's the best way to destabilize your competition.
Well, it might be theoretically, whether or not it is in practice remains to be seen. because if these guys have hired mercs to defend it, and of course you got the whole war deck system you got to deal with down there for taking these things out, and it's a multi-day process, and all that kind of shit. We'll see. Personally, I don't think that we're going to see Citadels dying the way that they probably should in high sec, because these could be a very big high sec content generator from the war perspective. I just don't know that we're going to see that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Effort.
It's how it is, though, isn't it? Effort is effort.
Yeah, it'd be too easy to railroad any industrialist who puts all their stuff in a Citadel hoping to get bonuses. It's like, oh, you just watch, and oh yeah, you got a bunch of stuff in here. Yeah, you just got locked out, and now your BPOs and shit are stuck in asset safety.
Mm-hmm. Until
it's like no.
That's the problem I found.
And plus, they were giving out all these lyrics about how these buildings are supposed to be, attractive to small corporations. It's like, no, it's not really attractive at all. Unless you can take it off the scanner entirely, you have to use combat probes to find it. I'm literally not interested.
But what it will do is okay. So in a way you're right. Okay, there are risks associated with it that you have to ask yourself, is it worth it, right? So in your case, it would not be. So you're going to use an NPC facility for I guess they will always be around. I don't know. Who knows? But you'll choose to use an NPC facility, and in the meantime, you'll lose that whatever you want to call it, marginal competitive advantage. Over somebody who is willing to assume that risk of using somebody's Citadel for these things, or the future structures that are coming, right? Because we know that while there are some things you can do in a Citadel now, there will be structures coming out in the future that will be better for doing those things than a Citadel.
Yeah,
like building and things.
Exactly. Now I'm just going to go. I'm going into one of the Citadels. I'm going into the 54% max refine in Perimeter. I just decided to go there. There's only me in the whole place. That's it. So
are you refining anything?
I'm not refining anything. I just felt like going there just to go and to get some opportunities, because I've got 4 came through. Apparently, let's get moving. Approach an object to the stars and jump through a Stargate. By the way, I've done those on this character before.
Sometimes after if you reinstall the game, that they reset.
Caleb says the marginal cost difference will be massive. You have to use player structures, either your own or someone else's, or you can't compete. But we know, Caleb, that you can, because we know that minerals are free.
Mm-hmm. Well, there we go. Look, I'm on the outside structure now. I'm just going to minimize the in-game chat. For the moment, I'll just drag it over there for a minute. Actually, I'll put it into there.
Cost of doing business is very squishy in this game for probably 90% of the people who are involved with manufacturing.
Yeah. I mean, I love the outside design. I really do love it. It looks beautiful. I mean, the fact that you could just be sitting in a station, but also, I'm just looking outside. So who's around? Oh, no one's around. But it looks beautiful. But the thing is as well, it's just another thing. It's another one of those things on the tick box of getting people in to do stuff. And that's how it is. I'm just going to randomly undock. And then where am I? I am there. I'm just coming out on my little tiny Ibis. Oh, no, it's not Ibis. It's a fucking...
gunning it is supposedly a pretty cool experience.
Yeah.
I hear from some of the guys who've gunned it, and they're like, oh, yeah, man, it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
It was never fun using a pause to gun.
Yeah. Exactly. You have to link and do this and do that. And
you can only control 4 of the you can only control up to 5 of the 5 of the guns or other forms of weaponry on them or whatever, and everything else so you would have to have multiple gunners there, and otherwise you just had the rest of the pause doing whatever the hell it wanted to do, and you had your 4 things. So typically you were using things like points and webs, and then hoping that the guns got around to your target too.
Exactly, and that's what it is. I'm just at the Fortizar, the Perimeter 0% broker fees as well, and again, it's just people putting it up. They put it up wherever they want. There's one. This is like literally. There's a Charon just docking. Let's look at it. There's people docking and undocking. And there's a Charon just coming in. Or there's a
It'll be interesting. I think from a trade perspective, for some of these things out there, you are going to have some of these citadels that are going to roll some bank. Okay?
Oh yeah.
Because again, they may be busting down their fees to low levels in order to attract business, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the business comes, right? I mean, a lot of these heavy transactors out there, especially when you start talking about the broker fee stuff, Plex traders and things like that, right? That shit can add up over time.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to people out there and they're like, oh, geez, no, I'm not, I don't do that manufacturing thing because I'm only going to be able to make, 10% profit margin or whatever. I go, yeah, but that's 10% profit margin like a day. That's not like your annualized return.
Exactly. And this is the thing, like right now there is a Forza up for sale in the system. It's like, okay, let's go to that one. Let's just undock. Let me go and dock at that one. Let's see. So where is it? Show info. It's is it perimeters? It's perimeter 5, 0% refining, 0% brokers fee. I got to find that one there.
Yeah, well, that's the one I'm sitting in. It's owned and controlled. It's just they're running 0 broker fees.
Yeah.
So your orders literally cost 100 ISK to fill.
Exactly. Caleb says they're already making bank. 8 days to break even if they trade Plex at similar high value. And this is
which was one of the other things in that article, right? Because Riva basically said you could put up your own Astra house, okay. And for the cost of, I think it was the Astra. It wasn't the Fortizar, I don't think. But anyways, and what it would take for you to recoup the cost of that, even if it were war decked and ultimately destroyed, you're making back the cost of it based on how you trade, to the point where you've already earned your money back.
Yeah.
Fortizar, right? Because the other one can't have a market thing in it, right?
Well, this is the thing. I'm sat in a Fortizar that's 22.5 billion, whatever. And in this Fortizar, there's another Fortizar that you can bring out. So that's Fortizarception.
But there are even other really really cool things about these citadels that don't get talked about as much. Okay, so like the ability to have multiple clones in the same Fortizar, to where you can jump between them with no cooldown penalty. So you remember those old conversations about how people with learning implants maybe didn't engage in PvP because they didn't want to risk their implants and whatever their implant setup, right? If they weren't in their combat implant setup, then maybe that would deter them from engaging in PvP or something along those lines. Which then brought everybody to the conversation of maybe they should get rid of the learning implants. Maybe they should just put the kibosh on attributes in general, and find some other way of dealing with training time and things, things that don't deter the potential for PvP or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Now you can have multiple clones in these things. You can have your slave set clone. You can have your max learning clone. You can have all these things, right? And if you're operating out of that particular place, then you just jump to the other one, and wham, you get into that ship that you wanted to get into, or do whatever it was you were doing.
Yeah.
As opposed to a station where, yes, you could have the installed clone plus the guy that you're sitting in and jump to that, or maybe there's another station, but then you had your cooldown period. So somewhere there was out there, what is it, like, at best 19 hours before you could jump again, or 18 hours or whatever.
It's 24 hours minus 5. So 19, because you get, 1 hour per skill level. And it makes sense. That makes perfect sense for me, and that's the way it is. The only other thing that I've always and my grid's a little bit slow at loading sometimes because obviously I'm streaming at the moment, but logging in again, it's just how it is. I understand why there are no things in there in certain areas and stuff. And again, the point is, we the game has changed so much that the Tech 3 hardware it runs on helps, and it's just how slowly and surely people will change the way they play. As we've always said, people will change the way they play, and so you might not get people out doing PvP all day long. You might get all the industrialists that we have but doing more of it and changing, because they don't really want to sit on PvP all day long. They want to do their mining, they want to do their missioning, they want to trade, they want to move stuff. And again, the chat in there, the amount of money you can make, if you've got the bank to put up a Fortizar, put the market thing in it, and start trading in it with 0% taxes, the thing, you're going to make a lot of bank. You know? And this is it.
Well, I mean, it's not 0% taxes across the board.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I mean, there are still taxes that are paid to the Secure Commerce Commission and shit like that, right? Yeah, so, not everything can be avoided, but if you are somebody who is a high volume type of person, right, depending on what you do, you can use these to give yourself that bit of advantage over the person who doesn't. Either they have to have higher prices, or they have got to be willing to accept a lower profit margin, and depending on how low that profit margin gets, it may deter them from doing it at all. Based if they're in an NPC station.
Caleb says,
I mean, the whole thing is, the whole thing is just going to be dramatically interesting in all areas of space once these things get out there. But man, we were just in this period of
it's the next part.
It still seems so far off.
Yeah, Caleb just had an interesting chat. He goes, "We just need Fozzie to fix meta levels and loot tables, nerf them. Basically, Sony PvP drop mods, and Rats only drop raw materials and bounties. I don't think alloys." I think...
Yeah, that's what I busted his balls on bounties for.
It's balanced right, alloys are better than modules. Yeah, if it's balanced right.
Yeah, well...
Bring back alloys.
Yeah, I was going to say...
I'm going to tell you right now, for all the people out there that bitch, okay, about drone alloys, okay, drone alloys did not break this game.
No.
Okay, they did not break this game in any way. They were a differentiator in how people played the game, okay? But they did not break this game. But what they did was they hurt high-sec miners because of, probably more so than other places.
They hurt high-sec and other sec miners, too.
If you were mining low
That was also before
ends.
the ADM system was in. Because those compounds contained a lot more than just trit. They contained trit and pyrite. And
they contained everything. But they did.
They did. Okay, but what they contained in high ends,
was negligible.
The low end construction part of the materials was really where they had an effect. But either way, so what? Okay, it was kind of like, at least it was different. If somebody wanted to be a gun miner as opposed to a retriever miner, it was something different. It added some variety out in space. But whatever, they're gone now. They're never coming back again. So we don't have to worry about that.
No, they're still in the game. You can still get them in minuscule quantities.
In minuscule quantities.
Yeah, they're not in the quantities they were before. I just looked at Plush and Glossy. Plush right now is, you can, people are buying it for 19k but selling it for 99, 89. And Glossy, because and anyone who doesn't know, Plush and Glossy were your money makers back in drone regions. That was what you made your money on. Glossy, you can buy it for 19k. I remember, what was it? Plush was 43, 44, give or take.
The reason why I say that I don't think that they'll ever come back, okay? I hate to say never on something, right? Because God knows you may have a change in development mindset or something like that, right? But you had certain folks that were just so against the idea that you could
gun mine.
That I don't even think that they cared so much of what it may or may not have done to whatever aspect of the economy. But what I can tell you that it did do, okay, when they got rid of those, was an incredible transference of money-making opportunity from nullsec directly to highsec.
Yes.
And it created its own thing of HiSec being able to have incomes from mining that were generally commensurate to a lot of parts of space. Now, they've made other changes since then, okay, which have tilted it more back in favor, once again, to places like lowsec and nullsec with regard to that. So, I mean, it's not to say that certain things haven't been corrected, in the process, but I just think that you would still have the mentality of you shouldn't be able to gun for minerals somehow.
Yeah. And again, just what I was counting, gun mining would be fine if it's balanced against the industry of mining. But the thing is, as I say, it wasn't back then, and I will tell you now, it wouldn't be balanced because you'd have to be tweaking it all the time. And that's the difference.
I'm going to tell you, my personal view, right? Yeah. HiSec should never be the primary source of actual mineral acquisition.
Agreed.
One would think, that, look, this is HiSec. This is the place where it's all populated. This is the place where they've already stripped it clear. It's like trying to find trees in England. Okay, they stripped their trees out a long time ago because back when they were building things out of wood and massive armadas of ships and things like that, right? They were using it to burn fires and heat the home and all that, right? Okay, you deplete there's nobody in downtown London who is mining for gold.
No, there isn't.
Because if there ever was any gold there, it's gone now.
Well, actually, that's a lie. They are mining for gold. It's called Hatton Gardens, and they have old criminals going in there on motorbikes and blowing the shit up. But yeah,
I mean, just to some extent, you would think that the place where you got higher quantities, especially of more valuable, but just higher quantities in general of almost anything, is the farther you push out from the highly populated areas, is where you would find the wealth of untapped resources.
Exactly, that's what it is. That's why.
But it's a video game. It's a video game, and they want players to be able to do stuff.
Exactly, that's what it comes down to. If you piss so many people off that it's not fun to do stuff, they're going to leave, and then it hits your bottom line. And then you realise that, oh shit, we can't afford. It's not we can't afford this, but we've had a decline in numbers. Oh well, okay. Well, how's the other properties looking? Oh, how's Valkyrie looking? How's Gunjack looking? Good. Okay, fine. We can still afford to do it. And remember that. And remember, please remember that when we talk about EVE Online on the show, we also talk about things like Gunjack and Valkyrie and Rip Dust, soon to be Nova, whatever you want to call it, because those things, remember, it's not just about EVE anymore. It's not. It never will just be about EVE anymore.
Well, for us it is. Well, I mean, for them it's not. But for us it is.
Yeah, for us it is. But
except, unless we're one of those people that play these other things too.
Oh, exactly. But what I'm saying is, it's not about that. Where you got to remember that as CCP as a company, there may only be X amount of iteration on EVE because they're working on Dust. Or
well, and I'm going to just disagree with you with what you say there, that there'll be less on EVE because of what they're doing over here. There's no indication whatsoever that there would be more on EVE if they weren't doing this over there.
I totally agree. I'm devil's advocating. Okay. I'm devil's advocating on this.
And there's a lot of people who think that. There's a lot of people that think that, well, for every dollar spent on doing, Gunjack or doing Valkyrie or doing whatever it is they're working on, in other areas, right, would be a dollar that, is no longer being spent on EVE.
Totally
no, it would just be a dollar that may or may not be going to, somebody's pocket.
I totally agree. And that's what it is. And that's where you got to come down on it. You got to look at it like that. And again, I hate to say this and get your drinks ready, but at the end of the day, CCP are a business. They are there to make money. And whatever makes them money,
I think they're doing a fine job right now with how they've separated out these other things.
Yep.
There were a lot of concerns years ago, regarding it, and I think that they learned from some of the things there. The tie-ins to EVE itself. I mean, even if you were one of the people who could get past, oh well, geez, I think that you should be spending your money on fixing our game over here or whatever. When they started talking about tie-ins to actually in the game itself, oh my God, the uproar over that, over here, right? There's always going to be that element. But I think that they're doing a pretty decent job right now of being able to work on other things, because as a company, they need to have more than, they need to be more than a one-trick pony if they want to continue to exist, long-term as a company, as an employer of people.
What it is.
Yeah, I think they're doing a pretty reasonable job at that. What else we got going on out there?
We have. Should we talk about the doxing? The Darius Johnson's article. What the hell is
Darius
doxing?
Johnson?
Yeah.
We can talk about that. Okay, yeah. So he had the article. What the hell is doxing? Right. Which this is one of the true just base topics or base titles out there. What the hell is doxing? And he goes into what the hell is doxing. He does not go into any moral judgments, specific or anything like that, right? I'm going to define for you what doxing is so that when you use the term doxing, you're at least hopefully using it the right way.
Exactly.
And it was kind of odd from that, right? Because he very much stuck on this is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. Here, I just did it.
Yep.
That's it.
This is what it means, not what you want it to mean. Go fuck yourself. Goodbye.
Pretty much. This is the thing.
Which we're kind of not used to in Eve. We're kind of used to a lot of articles in Eve starting off with this is what I'm going to do, and then I do it, and then I flip to some political agenda attached to it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that was kind of missing. Even though and I commented down in the bottom section down there, about the fact of it's great that we can define this and people will use it. Hopefully they will know the true thing. But I don't think it changes anything about about what people do now. And again, that wasn't directed at him because I think that his article did what it said it was going to do and then ended.
Yeah.
Right. But it doesn't mean that the people in the comment section or the community in general shouldn't be talking about things like this. From just the lengths that some people will go to out there in order to be edgy or dicks or whatever.
The question is, are you Hacker Man?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm looking at that stuff going, man, 5 1/4 floppies, baby.
Do you know what? I totally outside of thing. I'm going to bring up some tech stories I heard this past week. The U.S. military still has some nuclear stuff on 8 1/4 inch or 8 1/2 inch floppies.
Nice. Yeah,
some of the nuclear submarines still. You know why? Because the shit still fucking works. It ain't broke. It don't need fixing. It's true. Also, massive win.
Takes tax revenue to upgrade those systems. You know what I mean?
this is what they said. They said that the amount of money they spend, and it was a great thing. The amount of money they spend. Again, if you're here, Eve Talk, we're still talking Eve, but totally off topic. The amount of money they spend on just reproducing the floppies, because obviously they're not made properly anymore, all that sort of stuff, is in comparison 10 they'd have to spend 10 or 15 times more upgrading all those systems to make sure they work, because they know it works and they know it isn't going to break down or isn't going to crash.
Yeah, Quackane says, look at the Russians, they laugh at the US's boner for high-tech stuff. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Their nuclear arsenal literally has the old plunger thing, like the old TNT plunger. When they want to launch their missiles, they just go whoosh.
Could you imagine this, right? They're sitting there, right? You're at DEFCON 1.
And I joke. That's not true.
I know. You're at DEFCON 1. It's like height of getting ready to do it. The US are going to obliterate Russia because there's thing going on. It's just ready to do it. And they're doing it. And then, you get this pop-up. Would you like to upgrade to Windows 10? It's like, no! And literally have a drink. I'm just going to go off screen for a second because I'm going to get some vodka, because I'm going to actually pour a drink out for our brothers in Dust. So I'm going to go get some vodka. So, Dirk, talk amongst yourself for a second while I do that.
I thought one of the interesting articles that I saw out there, just so related to something, was a Wall Street Journal article where they went into railgun technology. And my first, they're using tungsten rounds for these railguns that the U.S. Navy is testing. I'm sitting there going, oh look, we finally got Navy faction tungsten railgun ammo coming online.
Yep. Well, they've used tungsten for a lot of armor-piercing type ammo in artillery pieces.
Yep. But it is interesting to see how this stuff is developing, right? And it's not like the railgun technology is something that hasn't been talked about before. It's been talked about for a long time, but it is coming closer, it appears, to fruition. What I'm actually surprised about is not that it's not used as this kinetic round for taking out ships or for even putting on land targets or whatever, right? But the ability to potentially hit incoming missiles with it, it's like, wow, that's But what was really funny, or what was what was interesting about the article was how they were talking about a lot of this couldn't have been done until the smartphone industry had perfected a bunch of its stuff for smartphones that has now allowed them to be able to do stuff as well. So it's like, remember back when the space program used to be that military, military industrial complex, innovations and whatnot drove other things out in, out in consumer society.
Yep.
And now we've got, elements of consumer society that are even driving advancements in the, in the military industrial complex world.
I have vodka. And it's actually proper, right? It's from Russia. 'Cause when my girlfriend went there for work, she brought it back for me. So we have some Russian vodka. I'm going to pour one out for the Dust Bros. Because why not? Dirk, you can just drink coffee. Because I know it's still early morning. But I'm going to pour one out and, yeah, whatever. Because
I'm not really a one-off drinker.
No, I know. Well, no, it depends what it is, you know. That's the way it is, but it's the way.
Binge and Dirk. I only drink one night a week usually, unless I'm going out socially or whatever.
Well, exactly. We go out socially and that's it, but...
I never just sit back and have a beer. I don't know. I think I'd rather have a glass of iced tea or something, you know.
A glass of iced tea, but yeah.
I need to find that article, because I need to find out what caliber that is.
Guns... Guns can now text emoticons. God love technology, love Tokong says. That's what it is. But no, a big wing for Google this week, actually. Again, the text topic. The court of whatever circuit it was in my. They basically said that Google has fair use on the Java API, is now owned by Oracle, originally owned by Sun. So it basically meant, yay, Google won. It's going to appeal. If you don't know what this means, you want this to happen because you want this to win. You want Google to win. Now, I tell you, if you don't like Google, I'm sorry, but you want this to win because if it doesn't, it means that software, well, now we know, APIs are copyrightable and fair use. So basically what this would have meant is the death of Android. Not really, but close to it. But also kind of the death of innovation because if APIs are copyrightable and you can't use them and you haven't got fair use, hey, just a little thing called the internet wouldn't exist. You wouldn't be gaming online. Just so you know. CCP Golden. Yeah, exactly. Still. For the Dust Bros out there, I'm just going to drink this vodka.
Rip and pepperoni linguine.
Pretty much, rip and pepperoni. Still, I think... Galente supremacy. Freelancer, Galente supremacy, GG. Is there anything else on the table? I did have a few things in the dock, but
I don't know. What else did you have?
I got some news about Armored Warfare. A little meltdown that happened.
Go for it.
Apparently, they decided to do an event because they have special skinned tanks, like premium tanks, kind of like you see like Fury or like the T-34-85 Rudy in World of Tanks. It's the same tank, it's just got, a special design on it. Well, apparently the publisher decided we're going to have this big special sale and the best item is going to be only 100 of them issued out.
Ooh.
Between the North American and the EU server.
Ooh.
And you have to buy this thing through the website with gold.
Oh, sounds bad.
Yeah. The minute the sale was supposed to start, the website, of course, died because everyone and their dog DDoSed it. Trying to get the 100 items. And the publisher was... apparently so incompetent to not see that coming. Yeah,
that's kind of like when, when tickets for events go on sale, like Google I/O. Well, Google's okay with it, but, WWDC, or when a new device comes out, and like when the Oculus pre-orders came out, the website just crashed, because they knew the demand was going to be there, and it's like, and that's the thing. Technically, they're getting DDoSed by their own customers. People pressing F5 all the time.
Yep. But a lot of people are angry with the guys that make Armored Warfare, Obsidian Entertainment and My.com, the publisher, because it was a premium. You had to buy the premium currency, and then, of course, by the time you get the premium currency to try to buy the package,
it's already gone.
Exactly.
See,
so a lot of people are like, "Yeah, I'm just getting refunds." I mean,
yeah,
they're getting flamed.
The smart people out there would have bought the currency before.
Yeah, but I had 25,000 gold and I couldn't get one. And believe me, I spent half an hour trying.
It's just, again, how things are. It's about demand.
Yep. So they've probably alienated probably a good 3/4 of their player base.
Yeah, I would say that sounds about right. You know, that's how people are with it. You know, there was announced. You know, Google announced this week or last week that you'll be able to use after Google I/O. They announced that you'll be able to have what was it? Google apps from the Play Store run on Chrome OS and Chrome. Literally, you'll be able to run in your Chrome browser. If you want to run Facebook, run Facebook. You want to run Instagram, run Instagram. You want to play, I don't know, Spaceship Spinneroo from Eve? Yeah, you can do that. And that's not there. Somebody make it, please. Somebody make a spaceship spinning game. That'd be great. But yeah, that's how it is. I think, well, again, the only other thing is the 450 billion is super capital fight over Citadel. In Negamen, which started out as a POS bash, apparently turned into a massive super capital brawl on the gate. Committed forces snuffed out members, jumped their super carriers in, resulting in nearly 450 billion bloodbath. Do we want to really say anything about that other than capitals are out there dying now? Because they are.
Well, they certainly are. You got fax machines dying. You got, fights taking place in other places.
Fax machines dying by the dozen.
Mm-hmm.
God, those things are fat. Jesus. I mean, to think that my Archon magically converted itself to an apostle. And man, that's a fatty. I mean, those things are just enormous. Enormous compared to my Archon. I was sitting next to one the other day. I was in an Archon and somebody else was in an. I'm like, okay, this is kind of crazy. They need to do something about the size of the Archon.
Well, the Archon's
They're
long.
all like that.
Well, the Archon's long and the Apostle's tall.
All the regular carriers, it just looks odd now. It's.
Exactly, the regular carriers are like that. They're all tall. They're all vertical supremacy. So it's like, yeah. So what we're going to do? We're going to make, we make the normal carriers. We're going to make them long, right? And the other carriers, we're going to make them tall. You know what? I'm going to say this. There's going to be a transformer carrier. There's going to be a carrier eventually. I can see this. They're going to do this. They're literally going to take it. So what you do is you will get, for example, for the Amarr, you'll get the Apostle, and you're going to get the Archon, and you're going to get them together, and they're going to turn into Mecha Archon, and it's like guns and firing and this and that. But it's a one-time use. I don't think
we're going to see that coming.
No, we're not. But it'd be a one-time use. It'd happen, and then once you've done it,
tactical destroyers.
Exactly. Well, no, you split them apart. And there's a 50% chance, well, one of them will blow up. You don't know which one it's going to be. It's random bullshit. It'd be great. But again, looking at the price of carriers, Archon's 1.2, and then you look at Apostles, 1.17. So the Force Auxiliaries have,
basically the same build cost.
Yeah, same build cost. But
it's just visually what they look like. I mean they are in fact when you look at the dimensions of them, a bit bigger. Mm-hmm. Not that much though. Like the actual numbers are not that much compared to what they are visually on the screen, and the amount of space they probably take up in terms of the whole idea of bouncing and whatnot.
Exactly. I mean, looking at them, obviously the Force Auxiliaries are there for the repping. You've got the armor resistances. Again, the point is they still both have the link bonus, and again. They're out there doing their thing, so you can do, like, for example, you can fit the network sensor array on the capital on the Archons, as opposed to you can't fit them on the things. And it's the whole point is out there doing the job they're meant to do. I liked this change. I really, really, really did like this change. Caleb says so. Tiamba and Wiggles get hired, and we know where things will trend. Damn right. Tiamba does all the designs, and I'm like, yeah, what I want you to do, I see this carrot, I want it to go clonk, and it does, and then you get Transformer things. Well, anyway. The point is, I really did like, and a lot of people didn't like the fact that they split the triage off from the carriers. They're like, well, I trained for carriers, and I did this. Well, yeah, but that's how it is. And also,
I think it was fine that they created a different ship class to do that. I'm glad that they changed it. To where your carrier skill was going to carry over,
yes,
to that.
That made total sense. That made total sense because the Force Auxiliary skill, and we still people still rage on about that.
Which in 2 days, right?
Yes.
So on Tuesday is when people are going to be refunded for any
Yes.
Of those Force Auxiliary skill books that they did purchase, as well as any skill points that they trained into those. So on the 31st.
On the 31st, so Tuesday. And also, I may add, the old camera is going away on Tuesday. Just to let you know, just a heads up, the old camera is officially being retired this Tuesday. So that means if you can't use the new camera for whatever reason, and thank you to Iggs78 for following, the point is, it's going away. And I know there are people out there that hate the new camera. There really are people out there that go, I don't like this new camera. It doesn't do good things for me. The point is, it's getting rid of old code because the new camera's a new code system that's been built into it. And it's slowly moving EVE on. It's removing the old code. For example, Citadel's work on brand new code. The old POS code is still there because we're moving things across. And eventually when all the new stuff for Citadel's, all the new market hub, well, the market hub's here, but the mining hub and all the other things and the jobs and all that put in, eventually the old code, they can go, right, we can deprecate it and remove the old code away, and it's all documented. So if something breaks, they know it's there. That's what happens. You found the Railgun article, Dirk, yeah?
Yeah, I found the Railgun article.
Nice. It's WSJ. Oh, great, it's behind a paywall. Well, it's not behind a paywall, but it's, yeah.
It wasn't... A lot of the stuff on WallStreetJournal.com is behind that. This wasn't when I clicked on it the other day, so I don't know.
It isn't. It's behind. If I have scripts turned off on my browser, so when I turn it on, it allows it to work. And because I run, I'm afraid to say this, I run an ad blocker. I only run it basically for the ability to stop the intrusive ads and the pop-up ads. I do that. Again, the internet. Again. Advertising out there, please don't do that shit.
Have we had anything crazy on Reddit lately?
Apparently, they want a charity high-sec citadel in Jita. That's what I saw in chat earlier on. I'm just looking at Reddit now. Where is it? Where's on Total Leaf? There it is. Let's have a look. I don't want the top new. I want the top.
Who's Priest said, I have a question. Dropping a pause was about 200 million for a small pause. Dropping a citadel will be 2 billion plus. Well, how is this going to affect small players who are not rich? Is that the cost of an Astra house? Is that
1.1? Let's have a look. Astra House. I'm in Jita right now. Close that. I think it was 1.7.
After fitting. Well, after you get the service modules and stuff, it's probably close to 2 billion.
Yeah, so Citadel standard, you're looking at Astra House, 1.4 for the base hull, and then with fitting, you're looking at about 2 bill. So
now here's the thing, right? Depending on what you're using, right? Because the Citadel, okay, so the various flavors of Citadel is the most costly and strong of the new structures that are coming out. Now, depending on what it is you were doing with that small pause, one of these future structures, might actually, get you what you need at a lower cost point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but then again, you know what? Sometimes there are things in look. They're technically better.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Plus, with all the money in EVE, I don't know. Yeah, and I hate to say that like everybody out there's got money because I know that they don't. But we could also be moving into one of these things where it's like, you know what, a pause is not for kind of like the lone individual player necessarily. Mm-hmm. Maybe they were never meant to be. A lot of people saw them as pitching tents, but I remember when I moved to the drone regions for the first time. Me and just a couple other guys, out there with our own little corp that we were part of a rental group with and whatnot. The cost associated with doing that was something that we had to, pull some resources together. This is back before, we started making money and things. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Is $2 billion a lot of money nowadays? Maybe not if what you're going to do is drop a structure out in space.
Again, it's a structure out in space that could be shot by in high sec, it can be shot by people who war deck you. And again, remember, if they war deck you and they can shoot you, but remember, the Citadels have and even if you just drop the small one, it's 3 hours is the vulnerability time, so you know exactly when you're vulnerable. And in high sec, you drop it, you're pretty much going to allow that one to be put up because It's not shootable unless you're war decked within the first 24 hours. Unless you put it in perimeter or some really, really, really well-known bit of space where people have got traffic. You put it in some backward ass in, 0.7 system. You're going to be fine. You're going to get it online. You're going to be able to use it. And that's what it is. But that's what it is. I just linked in the chat the Charity Citadel Twitter account, which is the one for it. And it has the Reddit project update 21 days ago. And it says, who am I? It goes, I'm the creator and diplomat of the project. Call me Term, my link and my old main. Has recently come on board as a director. We're currently talking to Cribber to join as CEO, which he apparently has of the Citadel Holding Corporation. So the biggest will be handled by him. So this probably will happen. A large, later XL Citadel will be placed in HiSec with hopes of becoming the primary market hub in the game. All old Citadel's profits will go to Plex for good, which is a fucking good idea. Pardon my French, but it is. I actually like that.
It is, but okay, and this is just what I fear, right? Mm-hmm. There are going to be citadels that are put up out there that are backed by the combat power of whoever they hire, or whoever they just have because I don't know, it's some entity that is already attached to one of the combat powers out there, right? The ability for the ability to defend it. My only concern is that maybe we are getting into the realm now of social shielding.
Yeah.
Okay, that. Oh God, that can't be attacked because geez, it benefits the Women and Children's Orphans Fund, or whatever the thing is, right? I mean, in this case, it's a combination of, I believe, Broadcast for Reps.
Yeah.
I think that there's some element of the Best of Us community as well, and things like that, right? And again, if you kind of get this sort of social cover over, oh God, I remember back when Cribba got attacked or something, and like one of his pauses or something like that got attacked, and the community was like, whoa, we must defend the Cribba, and that was just because he's a nice guy, right? And here if we've got something where it's like we must defend this thing that is raising money for charities.
Yeah, that's it.
I feel like it's almost one of those things where it's like it almost can't be brought down because who's going to want to go against the goodwill of a charity?
Looking in chat, Arkansas says DBRB will still attack it. And I said, true, that is Eve. Everyone is free to actually do what they want to do. So and again, I hate to be the one that says this, but when you're doing roams for, Broadcast for Reps, Plex for Good, and PL, I'm using PL as, an entity here, I'm not singling them out, but PL decide to dunk on it and kill everything, and people go, CCP, you should sort that out. And CCP go, dude, it's Eve. Deal with it.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. All I'm saying is that, it's just something to consider, right? Are we moving into this era of... Because we know that the community is. We know that the community is. And those who saw me on screen, I'm air quoting because I just always love doing that when we talk about this supposedly umbrella organization out there called the community. We already know that it's moving into this thing of there are certain things you can't say, there are certain things that you get backlash on if you be edgy or whatever and whatnot. But and it's great that these organizations exist out there in order to provide the services that they do. And I like the fact that people donate to them, and I advocate for people to donate to them and things like that, right? But now it's like it becomes kind of this in-game thing, and and then you get into arguments regarding casinos and everything else, and what can be attacked and what cannot. I don't know. It's just something to think about. That's all I say.
Yeah. Again, I people were talking about the 7-Eleven robbery.
Yeah, what was that? I missed that.
Well, it's under a Today I Fucked Up on Reddit. Reddit.com/r/TIFU. Today I Fucked Up. Today I fucked up by intervening in a 211 robbery in progress at a 7-Eleven in San Francisco. The user, our very own Tech Knight, takes a beating. So basically, it's the whole information in it. Basically, TLDR, the guy went in. There was something going on. He intervened. He got the shit beaten out of him. And he was an Eve player. So.
Oh, so what? So this is something to try and help support him, or
I think so. I'm just reading over it. I'm gonna post it everywhere because
shit. I was out in freaking San Francisco on business one time. We were having a business dinner, and we came out and we heard this ruckus across the street, and we start walking over and whatnot. Dude turns on me with a gun, and I went, "Whoa!" You know what?
This is the thing. This is the difference. And again, the difference is in the US, gun ownership is legal.
I still to this day don't know if it was real because it was one of those front brake models where it's like the barrel breaks down to be able to load the ammo on the revolver, and I couldn't tell that I couldn't tell if it was plastic if it was a
replica.
Anyways,
yeah.
But you know what? Whether you can or you cannot tell in that moment, you work on the side of totally real.
Well, this is it, and again,
that woman's purse was not worth it.
The difference is here in the UK, we don't have public gun ownership or whatever, so it's illegal. But even then,
no, he says not in San Francisco. They got tough gun laws. Yeah, apparently that person did not subscribe to that theory.
But again, I put it this way: I'm going to say this on the internet. There's the ability right now, if I wanted to, go on the dark web and buy a gun right now and have it in my house in 30 minutes in London. I wouldn't do that because, to be honest, I think firearms for personal use are stupid, but that's just me. That's how that is. The point is, in London, right now, I could go walk in the middle of the street outside, and I live in, a very kind of nice neighborhood in London. I could walk 5 minutes down the road and probably get stabbed because people would do that. I'm going to be honest and say this. You may be a nice person out there in the world. Don't get involved in other people's shit.
Well,
in some cases.
You hate to say that, right? Because, I mean, you want to sit there and say, oh, geez, I can't just let this happen or whatever, right? But, I mean, everybody's got to be able to kind of determine the actual situation as it's happening.
Exactly.
And maybe somebody being robbed is better than somebody being dead. Mm-hmm. Because it got, and it's terrible. I mean, you want to do what you can to kind of, intervene if something is happening to somebody. But there's a big difference between two people being in an argument and yelling at one another and you going, hey, calm down. And somebody committing an act of violence against somebody else and, what that may or may not escalate to you, and whether or not you come home to your kid that night.
Exactly. There's a great video out there on the internet, and it's been done by many, many, many different news organizations. It's the guy and the girl arguing. And the guy is being offensive to the girl and, hitting her or whatever. And people go, oh, you shouldn't do that. And they break it up. And then they switch it round 2 hours later. The same guy and the girl do it because it's obviously acting. It's done for that. And the girl starts hitting the guy. And all the passers-by just start laughing and pointing. I hate that. I hate that about society. And you know what? This is me on my high horse. I'm going to get off my high horse right now because I don't really want to talk about this. Financial rules is in Tesco's, every member of staff is told to do as they're exactly told by the robbery and give them everything to the till worth any form of oppression due to exactly this reason. I know that. I worked for Tesco for 10 years nearly. I was at a store that was robbed. I wasn't there at the time, but I watched the video back of it. It was an inside job. I know exactly who did it, and I found out and got it sorted. The point is, I know this shit. I don't intervene. If I see something, I walk on. I live in London, which I personally think is the greatest city in the world, and everyone else thinks their city is the greatest city in the world. I still fear for my life sometimes when I'm just on the bus on the way home. I've been attacked before, but hey, this is what it is. Hey, you know what?
But anyway, so what was the... Okay, so this was actually a real-world incident that occurred.
Yes, it was.
What was the net takeaway of the condition of this individual and, whatever?
TLDR... Help a 7-Eleven during a robbery. Little girl got her face crushed, and I got more than 20 broken bones, 42 stitches, and a few stab wounds, and maced. Hit by a car during a chase. I maced 2 other people, and hit one with a smiley, and fucking hurt. It says, and I fucking hurt. 15 hours ago, it was posted on the Eve subreddit, and then that goes into the Today I Fucked Up subreddit. So, yeah.
Yeah. And the worst part is the guy... They were actually, because someone was robbing this 7-Eleven, and apparently the guy who robbed the place punched this little Asian girl in the face while he was holding a Red Bull can and really messed up her face. Mm-hmm. That's when everyone just went apeshit on this dude. And he ran, they chased him, and a bunch of other guys, because apparently it was a black guy that did it. A bunch of other black guys saw them, this guy being chased, and beaten down, and held for the cops. Assumed they were just beating him to beat him because, never not play the race card, and attacked this guy.
Oh, so honorable third parties got involved?
Yeah, honorable third parties who apparently didn't take the fucking time to figure
well,
out. Well,
and this is the terrible thing. Oh God, and I'm going to use the term. This is the terrible thing about escalation. These things escalate into things that nobody thought that they would, and.
Hey, it's life.
Just stay behind your keyboard. Just be logged into Eve more. Do shit here.
All right,
don't leave your basement.
Leave your basement. Get the delivery from Amazon or whoever's going to drop you your groceries off. Do that. Get that delivery. Do the stuff you need to do. Go out in the sunlight. Get sunlight. Be nice, but be home before dark. Have provisions and do that.
Yep. Just one of the guys brought up on Twitch. He didn't even get stabbed until
the other guys joined in.
There's worse things in the world than shit posters on Reddit or
there are
forums or the meme of the day or whatever.
They maced him, but he managed to get the mace can and mace him back.
If you'd had a gun, you could have shot the robber without breaking a sweat running. Shoot him McLoads. Wow. The Be Home Before Dark part got me on IGS and said, lols. No, seriously, Be Home Before Dark. Because all the freaks... Again, get this. Actually, me and my girlfriend were coming home the other night from central London a week ago. Actually, last Saturday. Was coming home. We'd had dinner out, whatever. We're coming home. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to pop into our local off-license and buy 3 bottles of beer. We're walking up, and it's literally the next road. It's the next road up, so it's 5 minutes, not even that. As we're walking up, we see someone walking up. She's smiling. She's looking in the shop. She runs in, grabs the massive magnum of champagne, and runs out. The guy who was in there on his own didn't even know it happened. 2 passers-by went in and said, oh, she just stole some champagne. She's already 400 or 500 metres up the road. Gone. No one's going to stop her because you don't know if she's going to pull a knife on you. What it is. Anyway.
Or it's London, a machete.
Well, there is that too. Or even just bottle you with the champagne and then run off. But even then, that's so stupid, but still.
I don't know. Could she swing that big magnum of champagne?
Oh, fuck, she could. Oh, even though she... And again... totally circumstantial. She looked like she was a fucking crackhead, but she could probably swing it. In that means, adrenaline pumps, whatever. But still.
All right. Well, we're getting way off topic. So,
we are miles off topic, actually.
It's only a matter of time before we start talking about Turkestan. So
hold on. If you start talking,
this would not happen in Turkestan.
Hold on. And if we're going to talk about Turkestan, you need to change the picture behind you.
Yeah, really.
Well, I think we're pretty much done. This is 2 hours. We're coming on 2 hours at the end of here. I'm going to have some music in a bit. As I said before the show to people on here, no show next week. I am not here. I am away. I'm still in London. We're at a business conference next week, me and my girlfriend. A business slash motivational slash build yourself conference.
You're joining a cult.
Pretty much, yeah. But it's a free ticket to get in, and we're not going to buy anything. And then also, in the afternoon, we've got a housewarming party for a friend of ours. So we're going to go get drunk at that housewarming party. Well, I might. I don't know. She won't, but still. Whatever.
I've got to go out today and try and fix my central air conditioning because we've had the hottest weekend here all year. It's 90 degrees the last couple of days, and the central air broke yesterday. So I got to go out and see if there's something easy to fix on it or yeah.
If it's just you've got to call someone out. Or put it this way, if you have to call someone out, get on Twitter, speak to your boy HVAC and say, come and sort me out, bro.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I know. But still.
So I'm hoping to not leave my own basement because it's the coolest room in the house. I told my wife, I go, no doing laundry, okay? No running the dryer.
It's been, you know what? London's been. We had a little mini heat wave a few weeks ago, and then it got cooler again. We had a bit of rain. A couple of days ago, it was 10 degrees Celsius, and then literally the next day 20. It's double the thing. It's and everyone's like, "Oh, it's nice," and get out. It's because it's again. We're in the end of May, coming into June, so we know we're going to get hotter. Nowhere in London has air conditioning in personal homes unless you're stupidly expensive and you've got loads of money. And it's just, it brings all the people out. It brings all the weird people out. But still, I think we're going to end the show here. So let's go around the horn. Anything you want to pimp, promote, shout out? Now's your time.
Not really.
Not really.
Please bring more fax machines, PL. We love killing them.
Hey, if it pads your killboards green, check. Move on. Obviously, you can follow Urziel on Twitter at Urziel99. URZIEL99 on Twitter. You can grab him there. Dirk, what are you going to shamelessly self-promote this week?
I don't know. You can check out OpenComms 0100. Well, what is it? Thursday nights, U.S. time zone, 9 p.m. Eastern time, 0100 in game. Then, of course, Talking in Stations on Fridays. We actually had a good discussion this past week, this past Friday on Talking in Stations. We had a really fun one on Open Comms. It was pretty loose and just a good time. But on Talking in Stations, we talked to Steve Mesner, who wrote that article about casinos that was on Rock Paper Shotgun. So it was actually interesting to talk to the actual author of the article for that. And I think that was an interesting conversation overall.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's Friday night, same time.
Friday night, same time. All on the Matani.com Twitch channel. You can find those there.
Yes, the Matani.com television network.
MCTV. You should get that. MCTV.com. You should get it done. Yeah, whatever. For me, and Killer20965 in game. These are my final hours. I'm not going to return. You'll all be missed. My 16's locked. I fear from being avoided. Say the words my book is drawn for my final and last. Yes, in dust. That's fitting. Goodbye, everyone, Killer. Killer, keep listening. You know where it is. eve-radio.com to continue listening there. Twitch.tv/eRadio Live. That's for the site. You can keep listening as well at gamingnow.net, which is the new home of Eve Radio. It's in an open public sort of work in progress shop. You can see it there. As for me, you can find out about everything I do on Twitter. Oh, yeah, and Dirk's on Twitter at Dirk McGurk. You can follow him on there. Follow Dirk on Twitter so he can basically get more followers than his teenage daughter and keep going on. And just do that. add to the ego. Boost the ego. As for me, I'm at WigglesGRN on Twitter and Facebook. Total Eve.
Get those late night words of wisdom.
Get those words of wisdom. TotalEve.com. It's always there. It's always working. Fully responsive for mobile platforms, and you can customize it. So if you don't want to have, let's say, crossing zebras on the feed, you can log in with your Eve account and remove it. More customization coming soon, as well as color customizations and stuff like that, which is all coming soon. Also, update on the new Eden update, which I said last week. We're on hiatus until I've decided what's going on with it, real life and stuff like that. You know, if real life calms down, I'll bring it up and back. We may even bring it into the top of this show. I may do Dirk, we could write it, do it, top of the show, done, bash. Because people have said that. Maybe we could do it. I don't know. We'll see. But that's pretty much it for the
one more thing I just
go.
I know this is probably more of a European audience that's listening right now. But for people listening after the fact, Eve Northeast is coming up in just under a month right now, and there will be some of us there. Jay McLean from Best of Us, me, some others I know that are going. Camping with Eve Nerds. This ought to be pretty interesting. Mrs. McGurk is I'll call it looking forward to it. But yeah, so I think we're gonna finally break out and try and do a Tito's vodka taste test for all these people out there that sit there and say Grey Goose and Kettle One is better. We're going to we're going to test their taste buds, I think.
I do like this one. I do like this vodka. It's quite nice. But then again, I don't really drink vodka that much. But it's one from Russia. I just started drinking it last week, and I was like, I hadn't had any for it's been months. It's been here, and I'm like, let's try it. It's actually nice. And again, if I could get Tito's here and it was cheap enough to get it here, I would. But I'm not paying like £35-40 a bottle.
But Eve Northeast, it's coming up. Tickets are still for sale out there. You can check it out through EveMeet
.net
to EveMeet.net to be able to look at that. But it's in northeastern Pennsylvania. So if you're kind of in that tri-state, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania sort of area, I don't know, maybe look into it. Eve Meets are kind of fun, man.
They are.
Yeah, it's not as nerdy as you think.
If you're listening to this before next Saturday, and you're in Scotland, and you're most normally in the Glasgow region area of Scotland, Eve Glasgow, go there. It's on evemeet.net. It's the top one at the moment. CCP Guard is going to be coming along. So go and meet CCP Guard. Go meet Mr. G, shake his hand, have a beer with him. He's a great guy. And put it this way, you won't drink him under a table because he will drink you under the table. He's a legend like that. But pretty much that is it for this week. eve-radio.com, where you can continue listening and donating, keep the station on air. Thank you very, 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 very much. And that's pretty much it. Music is coming up next. Keeping it in a guitar bass. We're gonna, you know what? For the Scots out there, we're playing Danny Boy by Johnny Cash. That's coming up next. But apart from that, pretty much that will be it. So I'm going to do the
Danny Boy is in the Irish song.
Yeah, Johnny Cash covered
But it's not for Scots. It's
yeah,
for,
well, yeah,
it's
you know, it's the Irish song, but yeah, a lot of Scots.
Well, Scots and Irish happen to think that they're different. But
yeah, a lot of them sing it, but anyway,
different colored skirts, but you know.
Exactly. Again, you can follow Eve Radio on Twitch, Eve-Radio Live. If you're not following, follow it. Alert you when we go on air. And as I said, no show next week, so I will see you, and Dirk will see you in 2 weeks' time. So that will be the 12th of June. So that, again, this has been This Week in New Eden for the 29th of May 2016. Thank you for listening, and music coming up next. Anyone want to say last words before I press things and do stuff?
Later.
Right, that's it. We're done.